Now, most of us know about heat damage. That damages the disulfide bond, and then things like moisture overload or hydrofatigue. That's the hydrogen bond. But what about the salt bond? Let's talk about that. Before we get started, you guys, always make sure that you are subscribed here to my channel and then click on that bell notification so you're notified every time I post another video. Now, this client is one that came in with plaits in her hair. I do always ask my clients to take some of their braids out if they are in their head, because that wasn't a part of the service, but we went ahead and got her hair completely detangled. She got an Olaplex treatment. The products that are on the screen I no longer have, but she got a Olaplex treatment, a Olaplex 1 and 2 treatment, the type that you get in a hair salon, right? But as you can see, there are certain pieces of her hair where the texture is different, and this has nothing to do with heat. She hadn't put heat on her hair in years, so all of this difference in length came from the salt bond being damaged within her hair, which we will talk about briefly in a second. All right. Now, when we're talking about the salt bond, we're talking about the bonds that hold the hair together. There are 3 of them. All right. We have the salt bond, which is broken by acidic products. We have the hydrogen bond, which is broken by water. And then we have the disulfide bond that is broken by chemicals or using heat in a way that it's not supposed to be used, right? But 3 bonds holding the hair together. And one thing that has really caused a whole lot of breakage and a whole lot of mechanical damage is breakage from the salt bond. Now, the salt bond is the bond within the hair that is broken by highly acidic products. So products that don't have a balanced pH level. Maybe it's highly acidic or really highly alkaline because it's not balanced properly. Normally that happens when you're dealing with homemade hair products. You don't really know how to balance the pH in the right way. And even if you do the little tester strips that you can get on Amazon, to tell the truth, it's not always accurate, and it's not always the correct pH balance that you need for a product to have longevity. This is why a lot of people get scalp infections after using homemade hair products, or this is also why you see so many people have a change in their texture, even though they don't use heat in any way, shape, or form. And even though it seems like making the products yourself, even though it seems like not getting a product made by a business that has been doing it for a really long time, even though it seems like a better idea not to go with them and to do it yourself, long term, the results never come out good. So real quick, if you're new here to my channel, this video is about pushing 6 years old. I am no longer behind the chair anymore, but I use my older videos to show you guys an example of things that I've been talking about here on my channel for almost a decade now. So what you can do is make sure that you go back and look at a lot of my other videos, because I go really deep into the science of hair here on my channel. But if you're looking for like a silk press video to entertain you, that's not going to be it, boo, because I'm gonna talk all the way through this. All right. So at this point, what I am now doing is taking her hair from alpha keratin to beta keratin. Alpha keratin is your hair in its unstretched state, right? And then beta keratin is the new stretched state, or the new state that you put your hair in to until it's wet again, right? From wet to dry. Alpha keratin, beta keratin. So what I am now doing is making sure that her hair is properly stretched before I give her a trim and treat her hair completely, right? Again, this was her getting an Olaplex treatment and a silk press to go ahead and alleviate some of that damage, right? So again, I get so many comments with a lot of people who, think that their hair is really healthy because they have been team natural for years, and then they go in to get their hair straightened and it is a completely different story. And I'm here to tell you that that does not have to be your reality. You have so many options, and for whatever reason, people get so offended if I say no twist outs, no wash and goes. But at the end of the day, those were some of her routines: twist outs, wash and goes, two strand twist. And in the midst of that, she was also using a lot of highly acidic products. Now, there are a lot of different channels that call for debate and going back and forth. This is not one of those channels, because this is one of hundreds and hundreds of clients that I had over the years, and the majority of women have this issue. Now, there will be a very small percentage of women that'll say, hey, well, I've been doing it for 30 years, or I've been doing it for 10 years and everything turned out great. Well, baby, listen to me. I am the person that everybody comes to after they've been thinking the way that you think for a really long time. Most of my clients that I do consult now are in their late 50s up into like their early to mid 70s. Okay, so hair weathering takes a long time to show up sometimes. And on my channel, I try to give you guys a breakdown of how things progress over time. This is nothing new. So I just want you guys to think about something. This video is 6 years old. So the fact that the majority of women with naturally curly hair who were into the team natural thing, the fact that the majority of women are dealing with this reality right now, 6 years later, should tell you something. And it's just something for you to think about, right? Everybody can find their tribe. If you still want to do your wash and goes, your twist outs, and your apple cider vinegar rinses, and your rice water rinses, and all of those homemade products, then you go ahead. But when you use highly acidic products, it ends up making the hair shaft weaker, causing breakage, right? And when the hair shaft is made weaker, causing breakage, then what happens is long term, you end up losing a lot of hair. And most times, let's say, for example, when you detangle your hair wet, and because you have the knowledge, you don't have the understanding to match the knowledge, you get confused. And what I mean by that is this: most people have the knowing of, okay, you lose anywhere between 55 to 100 strands a day, but you don't have the understanding that 55 to 100 strands a day are gonna come out progressively, not like one big huge clump of hair in your hand. So you should never have clumps and globs of hair in your hand when you're detangling, right? And when you're having those globs and clumps of hair in your hand, I need you guys to remember that they are coming from all points of the hair shaft. They're coming from different places. So these are the things that you see. These are the things that manifest themselves to you when the hair is stretched. Because when the hair is swollen, you cannot see the true density of the hair shaft, right? Curly hair is swollen when wet, and straight hair is swollen when dry. So this is why it's really important that you get curly hair, naturally curly hair. And remember, I'm a black woman, and black women are not the only women with curly hair. So this is curly hair across the board. Even wavy hair, you do not cut wavy or curly hair when it is wet, because wavy and curly hair stretches when it's swollen when it is wet. All right, so that is why you do a blowout first, and that is also why a lot of women with naturally curly hair are under the illusion that their hair is healthy when their hair is curly. And then when you go straighten it, you can see different hair shaft disorders, right? So when I was standing behind the chair, I was not just straightening my client's hair just to straighten it. No, most of the women that came to see me were coming from other states, right? And they were coming and sitting in my chair so I can access their scalp, I can assess their hair shaft, and we can go over what hair shaft disorder they had and treat it. All right. There's so many hair shaft disorders, you guys, and I really think it's funny that there are some people on YouTube that are like, oh, that's not real. Hair shaft disorders are not real. It is very true. And hair shaft disorders is one of the main reasons why most women with naturally curly hair think that flat irons are bad. Because think about this. If you go in to get your hair straightened and you have a hair shaft disorder that you know nothing about, if there are cuts and splits and holes within the hair shaft and your cosmetologist can't see that, right? And then you put a flat iron on it, the flat iron is going to bust straight through into the cortex and just start damaging the hair. Why? Because the cuticle's broken and there's nothing to protect it. And if you've been layering product after product and after product on the hair shaft, this split right here will be covered up. So then when you come in to see a cosmetologist like me, the very first thing I'm going to do is give you a clarifying shampoo and a scalp scrub and a detoxifying treatment. So I'm going to take all of the products off and then we'll get to see the reality of what's really going on under your hair. This is why I'm against layering products on. This is why I'm against things like the lock method. This is why I'm against putting oils and butters on the hair shaft. Not because I'm anti-product lines or anti-companies, no. Because when you layer products on the hair shaft, you don't see the true texture of your hair. You can't feel your texture for real. That's why when most women use something like Olaplex 4C or any clarifying shampoo, they'll be like, oh my God, it stripped my hair. It made my hair feel rough. It did not strip your hair, my love. What it did, it allowed you to feel the true texture of your cuticle. That's how your hair really feels. And if you don't like it, it's time for you to do something about it. And that is not in a bottle. It has nothing to do with a hair product. The hair product will not be that thing that is going to get you from point A to point B where you need to be. It just won't. So this is why it's really, really important for you to pay attention to the science of hair. It's really, really important for you to only listen to people who are giving you the science of hair, because if you don't, you'll find yourself in situations like this. So my passion comes from a different place. Like, it's not coming from like, oh, I'm anti-YouTuber. No. I lived in a different realm than everybody else. So while everybody else was in that, oh, product hacked realm and put this product here and put this product here, I was behind the scenes fixing the cause of that. Because one thing that a lot of people are not going to want to admit, everybody who has a good result, they're going to post a video fast. But the women who are now bald, the women who have their hair falling out, are not turning on cameras and posting videos. They are panicking in their rooms, looking across social media, trying to find a cosmetologist like me, sitting in our chairs, humbly listening to what we have to say and keeping it moving. But they're not making the YouTube videos, guys. So you only see the good. The bad and the ugly is in the hair salon with cosmetologists like me. So when I'm making videos like this, I'm making them to try to get you guys to avoid this. What you're seeing on the screen now is inside the 7-day challenge, right? And inside the 7-day challenge, this is the group, right? This is the group. This is not the actual content from the 7-day challenge, but all of my tips and tricks and stuff are within the group. I get a lot of comments when I make videos like this. So people are like, oh, you're telling us what not to do, but you're not telling us what to do. Well, I've been doing this for over 10 years. There are hundreds of videos here on the channel breaking everything down. And if you really, really want to know, you can head over there. But as it pertains to me giving step by step directions, as the only directions that I'm giving now is on my website, which is a personal platform that I own. Over the years of me doing this, there have been so many people across YouTube who just constantly steal my content, and that's okay. But the only way that I can protect my intellectual property is to put it behind a paywall on my website. So I really hope that everybody can understand that. But if you really want to know step by step, if you want me to hold your hand all the way through, then you can join the 7-day challenge and you will be a part of the group. If you have not paid for the 7-day challenge, you cannot have access to the group. So if you go and request to join, I'm going to decline it. I love you guys so much. Before you sign up, make sure that you first become a member of my website. And then once you become a member of my website, write down your username and password, because once your password is set, I cannot change your password. I don't have access to your password. It is imperative that you remember all of your information, and then you can sign up for the 7-day challenge, follow all of the promptings on the screen, and then we're in there. If you don't want to take the 7-day challenge, you can get ebooks where I break everything down. You can binge watch my videos. You could book a one-on-one consultation with me. There are so many different things that you can do. Lastly, the one-on-one consultations, my loves, are not free. So after you request the appointment, I will send out an invoice. If the invoice is not paid within 12 hours, the whole appointment is canceled. All right. I love you guys so much. This beauty here in the video, she was ready to go. All right. She was ready to get rid of all of the damage. The women who show up here on my channel, for the most part, they were all like really open to letting hair grow before they got there, because it was a part of my policy and procedure. I wasn't like, oh, you don't have a choice, I'm cutting your hair. But because people saw what I did on social media, I had to let them know that if you want that same effect, you're going to have to get rid of the damaged hair. And so it was never a problem. So in this case, I am giving her layers because it is a way for me to get rid of most of her damage that was at the top without getting rid of too much length. All right. So again, that is what we're doing. It's great. What you're seeing again is still within the 7-day challenge group. And this is like everything you're seeing is probably within like a 6-day period. It's really great because a couple of the beauties within the 7-day challenge found cosmetologists. They're sharing their cosmetologist's information within the group, you guys. So it's something that I really want you guys to become a part of if you want to, but don't take my word for it. Look at some of the reviews and just remember, you don't have to pay any money. You can binge watch all of my videos. There are hundreds of them, because the things that I say here on my channel, I have been saying forever, right? Forever. So she did have a couple of other places. We could have actually went a little shorter, but this was good enough as long as she kept up with her regimen and as long as she didn't go backwards and start doing other things, right? So like I said, when I'm like, oh, I'm against Team Natural, I'm against air drying. When she came in, her hair was air dried. She would always air dry her hair. She didn't blow dry. Like everything that you guys go by is what she was going by. And so this is something that, again, I want everybody to think about. I'm not trying to get you to change your mind or anything, but if you are noticing your hair as you're wearing your hair natural, if you're starting to notice that your hair is looking thinner, if you're starting to notice that, your curls are becoming less defined, as if you have heat damage, the salt bond in your hair is being damaged by highly acidic products. I want you guys to remember that when you go in a hair salon, you never see a cosmetologist like saturate hair in product ever, because if we did, the hair would be completely lifeless. It would have no body. It would have no movement whatsoever. So that's never something that we've done in the salon. It's only something that's been done online. So I encourage you to maybe get a journal out and change the way that you think about hair in general. Just change everything that you think about it and just humor me. after 3 weeks of maybe not oiling the scalp, not wearing your hair wet, not air drying your hair. Let's just see what happens, because at the end of the day, using less products costs you less money, and having less steps takes you less time. So what do you really have to lose? Absolutely nothing. You only really have things to gain. So just give it a try. Come back to my channel and leave it in the comments and let me know now. Are you a person who has experienced any of the things that I'm talking about? Do you think that you have damaged the salt bond in your hair? Do you think that at one point you have, or do you think that you are in the process of doing that? Because I will tell you, Olaplex can fix it. A little bit of Olaplex is 0 and Olaplex 3 and you'll be good. Leave me some comments below and I'll see you in the next video.